High grade after colony, Wing Gundam. Hey, what's up again everybody? It's Robert184, 2Rs2Bs, GundamReviews.net, and I've been waiting for this since the 1990s, even though we didn't know how good the high quality of a good 1/144th high grade could be. But if you saw from the unbox, I'm quite excited about this kit, and putting it all together hasn't really diminished it. You can see all the body parts there as you'd expect, but let's see what those empty plates actually turned into before it all gets ready to fly. Starting with the bottom and working our way up to the top, you're going to notice just how white this is, but actually there's a surprising number of gray pieces making up the inner frame, if you want to call it that. Starting up here with the hips, which are usually not all that exciting, but if you check it out there, this is a neat bit of construction. You've got a pulley cap there, which is going to have a peg, and it's going to attach into this smaller part, which is then going to be surrounded by the larger part. This will move up and down, and that'll rotate around, and you'll notice that it's asymmetrical, at least in coming forward there, which is looking pretty good. But it's the knee, I think, that's going to be most exciting. You've got two very clear and distinct bends there, and you'll see that that's going to go all the way around, and you saw that this part actually stayed in place for a little while before it goes all the way down. This thruster is going to be moving, and you can offset this a little bit, which is going to come into play when you try to do the actual transformation. Very simple lining options. I ignored most of them, or I just did a little bit of edging there. But it's the kind of thing I love when Bandai is doing this more and more. If you take a look at this piece on the front, well, you've got these white parts underneath, and they're just sticking up. So if you've got half a moment and a black marker, you can just go cover that up yourself. Probably one of my only complaints is going to be that this little seal here, the black triangle, is a little too small for the area it's trying to fit. And if you take a look at the ankle there, you can see a huge swing range of motion there. The ankle is going to be moving good, just simple lining. It attaches into the back of the heel there, and you can see the way that this is going to be bending down and allowing for the transformation. But look at that movement, side, back, forward. Simple, effective, clean, and neat. The blue arrives once you get to the waist section, and if you start on the back, you've got two pieces here. You're going to want to be careful. I shaved a little bit too much off the top there. Otherwise, it would be easier to pop out with your hand. But this is going to be sitting in there very solidly. The side skirts are on an interesting pulley cap there, so they just sit and then they're gripped by the actual waist section, which just has an old PC2 on the top. But it's the kind of thing where I always appreciate now Bandai doing this more and more. If you take a look at this gray part, that's protruding from underneath, and that just gives you more colors from less actual plastic there. These parts, you'll notice that they are going to be attached together, and you've got seals with black and gray on the top. I didn't do a very good job lining here. I did some gray up there and some black on the inside of the channels. You could do some edging beside those stripes, but overall, this is just a good start. Before we move on to the main course of the goodness here, this chest section, HGAC, sign me up. Absolutely astonishing, the amount of details and colors. Bandai really hit home this time in terms of quality. So what do you have? Well, I suppose every Gundam, thank you Build Fighters, you should be able to swap the backpacks. You'd think Bandai would be getting more consistent. Hopefully that's going to be a sign of things to come. You'll notice the red and the white down there, and this is going to be attached on so you can move it, well, hardly. We'll see how it actually works in practice. But I think just a lot more important is going to be when you look at this chest part. First of all, you've got these yellow parts, and what I did here is I actually put some black marker underneath this one before covering it up with the yellow one. And this one, you'll notice that I did nothing, and I think that actually you're hardly going to see the difference. I figured that this should have been black, blah, 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 Bandai should have done a better job. Well, no, I'm going to say that if you just do nothing, the way the shadows are going to hit it on the shelf, it's just fine with not an ounce of work, and besides, because it's so easy to do, you just drop the ink on and put the yellow part on. It couldn't be any simpler. Yes, gone are the days of seals here. This is an actual nice piece of plastic over there. You can see the guns looking good. And of course, how do you like that seal? Looks great with the yellow piece. And then you're going to be putting the green seal underneath, and the jewel looks fantastic. The shoulders are going to be able to rotate forward, which is needed. And then you'll notice that they're going to be on this other piece, so it's going to have a lot of range of motion. But just in terms of colors in a short area, incredible. Before it's on to the arms, and I've got to say again, this little bit of blue that they do, actually a lot more if you think about it compared to the original Granddaddy, it's all going to be looking sharp. Here you can see the poly cap where it's going to attach in, and of course it's got to have space for that shoulder piece. So what can you do with this? Massive range of motion, as is going to be required. There's some more lining options that I've ignored up there on the top, but when you drop in this blue part here and then attach on the yellow parts, I think they actually fit in there very, very well. And this is the kind of thing I hope you don't hold this against Bandai. This is just poor inking on my part. What I did is I went in there with black marker and I just sort of dolloped it in there, and then I just sort of went like this so that it would rotate around, and it went most of the way around on most of them. But getting into this little tiny part here, that's just Gundam marker, so that's why you'll notice that the light is reflecting differently after the different parts of black. Would be incredible if they had put a black piece underneath, but it's the kind of thing, if you know what you're doing for lining, it's very easy, especially if you're not using a marker. It's going to be a little bit too fine for that, so you'll want to be inking properly. What else do we have? Well, a rotating mechanism there, some lining options, you can get the claw down, and what do we get for the elbow? Well, a straight 90 from there, and it'll come up about 135 in total. I've got a little black seal that I forgot to put on there, and of course some num marks, but they're going to be hidden in the back. So what do we get here for the claw? You'll notice that it's going to be bending out there with the blue and the yellow, getting ready to go and talon somebody's face out. One thing that you'll notice about this guy, though, is not too many manipulators. That's something we've been getting more of. This guy just simple and gray front and back. Buster rifles, 1 or 2, 1 in this case. I gotta say, it's fun to put together, nice and simple. I really like the way that everything up here is looking. Even better perhaps on Katoki Hajime's one, but at the same time it looks great for a high grade. Here you can take the grip and get rid of that. You can see attachment points, and yes, that one piece of yellow really makes this actually stand out. No seals, not all gray. It's got some visual impact to it. And 2 colors on the BR, well, how about the 2 that you're getting on the shield here? And, well, you could even count more if you want to count the seals. 2 of them, little black ones up there, triangular shaped, and then you've got this green one, which isn't going to be standing out quite as much as you might like. But nonetheless, who can really complain when you're getting lots of white showing through here with very few, just 2 pieces of red on top. Everything underneath is going to be looking good. And for plate options, yes, you can open this up quite a bit, even more than 90 degrees there, and there's the grip for the actual beam saber, and it seems to fold up there quite nicely. It's going to be looking, you could detail this up underneath, and there's the actual handhold. This, I think, is going to be looking good, hopefully, in both modes. Here's the beam sabers with the grip attached, only 1. Yeah, might have been nice if they had thrown in 2, so get ready with your Ziploc, but nonetheless, the green is looking good, the size is appropriate, and it's going to stand out really nicely, the colors, against the famous tricolors on the actual kit. But the Universal Century laughs at things like this, wings on a Gundam, outside of the wings of light, but you can see here that things are going to attach on very neatly, and again, Bandai doing a good job. Few plastic, lots of color apps, it seems. You can see that the gray is going to be showing through there in a couple places. These, of course, are polycaps. So what are you going to get for motion? Well, you're going to be getting 180. This isn't really going to help you very much there, but check out the actual colors of the wings from the title here. I'm incredibly impressed with this. First, simple lining options, very easy to do. I went with brown on the red as usual. 2 actual pieces of yellow, and then you've got 2 pieces of blue there, which are going to clamp together. And you'll notice that this is going to fit in very nicely. Yes, it's missing the white there, but who's really going to see that in the back of the Gundam? You'll notice that this is going to be coming up about this much, and the red, though, you've only got a small range of motion there, so nothing too exciting. But then you can take this whole thing and you can move the actual blue part, so you should be getting some pretty dynamic poses here. Feathers it's not, and yet this is the original, and for some, still the preferred one. Finally, one of the concerns for a teeny tiny Gundam here, and I'm looking at everything, starting with V Gundam and where things just got smaller. Bandai, perhaps they were saving on plastic. Nonetheless, whatever their in-universe stories are, if you're going to be molding an HGUC or an HGAC and having them on the same shelf, you're going to want the head sculpt to look good, and this one really is. First of all, it's going to be swept back there, as is appropriate again for the title. Very simple on the back, just a little bit of lining, but I think it's all on the front. It is going to take some patience here with the lining. You'll notice that the actual channels are going to be a little bit thin, so ink is again probably going to be better than marker, as it pretty much always is. But you'll notice the goatee looks good, the slits look good there, the eyes are looking fantastic with the silver, and you've got that nice red jewel, the yellow V-fin, and pretty much everything where it should be. This is looking good. Can't wait to actually check out the height. Finally, you'd never think that I'd end with something like this, but yes, PC002, I've got to say, from the actual build in the plastic, this was exciting to actually use and put together. This is 2013 Japan, and if it's a taste of things to come, exciting polycaps, exciting build for an exciting looking Gundam, looks like we're making progress here. You may have noticed from the unbox I was pretty excited about this, and I'm not seeing it dissipating at all. The legs and their crazy hips. The waist section, that's just going to be simple, but the chest looks fantastic. The arms seem very cool. If you get in there and ink them up properly, the wings look solid, and the weapons, fun, playable, great color apps. Things are looking up in the sky. Well, not flying up there, but you get the idea. Stick around, though, to see if the MS is going to be leading up to the hype and its potential. Can't wait to see myself. Thanks for watching, everybody. See ya. Do not infringe on our theme song.